with that being said, WillieGRamirez. And so, like I said, the reason why we've expected an expansion in the NBA to 32 teams is due to the fact that they would get about, at this point, NBA teams are almost worth $2.5 billion. So they would almost get $5 billion in total by creating 2 new expansion teams. So shout out WillieGRamirez on Twitter for this. Multiple sources have told WillieGRamirez that the NBA wants to finally announce expansion to Las Vegas and Seattle during the Clippers' 2 preseason games at Seattle Climate Pledge Arena on September 30th and October 3rd. Then the Lakers then play 2 preseason games in Vegas on October 5th and 6th. So it works out perfect. And somebody's going to go down below and be like, why do you have, I'm going to try to put a mix of the Supersonics. Also, they're not going to be called the Seattle Supersonics. I believe they're going to be called the Seattle Sonics because I think they can call them the Seattle Sonics, but I believe, someone tell me down below, I read this years ago, but the reason why I know this is when I was younger, like 16, 15, so like 8-9 years ago, I used to religiously play 2K, my league and my GM, and you would do the expansions and stuff. And whenever you would find the jerseys for the Seattle Sonics, it would always be the Seattle Sonics, not the Supersonics. And I googled that. I was like, why is everyone always putting the Sonics? And supposedly because of trademark and copyrights. I think the NBA owns somebody owns Supersonics and the NBA doesn't. So they can do Sonics, but they can't do Supersonics, something like that. I think the Thunder still own it. The owner of the Thunder owns Supersonics, so they would have to buy that from him. But if they just do Seattle Sonics, you get around it and you still get the gist of what they're trying to do. And I would assume you would transfer the history of the pre-Thunder. The Thunder would be a franchise that started in 08 or 07, whatever it was. And the Seattle would be a franchise that was defunct from 07-08 till 2022, and then it would just regain that history, we would assume, right? That seems in my mind like the right thing to do. Now Las Vegas, I saw Las Vegas Venom. The names for Las Vegas is a little bit harder to figure out, but this news, guys, is awesome. And for me as an NBA fan, I can't wait. And I think it's going to just be something that ends up being amazing. Okay. Now, I think the biggest problem with trying to bring an NBA team here in Las Vegas, I have no problem with Seattle. Seattle's fine. They have the Climate Pledge Arena. There's nothing to worry there. What I worry about is, are they going to be able to do this in a fashion that, what's the right word right here? The right word is, can they do this in a fashion for it to work out in basically I want to say in Las Vegas, because I always bring this point up in Las Vegas. The problem with Las Vegas as a NBA venue or like city, I know this is one time, but the NBA hasn't had a All-Star game, I believe, in Las Vegas since the 2008, and I think 500 people were arrested during that All-Star break. And it's because it's so close to LA, people have been scared that it would bring gang activity. Not that's something I care about, guys. I'm from Baltimore. Okay, I went to juvie for 3 months. So that's not something I care about. I bring these points up due to the fact that this is something old whites are going to bring up. And as somebody who's in journalism, it's something I have to bring up, even though I don't believe in it necessarily myself. Okay? And again, like I said, guys, I went to juvie. None of that shit scares me. Okay? No one's going to fuck with you unless you give them a reason to fuck with you. Okay? And if you're just a good human all around and you're not, making yourself a target, and what I'm saying is making yourself a target is just like, like, look, when you go to this city and stuff, I mean, every city's bad. Okay? Every city has bad parts. Every city has good parts. It's just, I'm a big proponent. If you guys follow me on my NBA show, we sometimes talk about this, is like, I hope to have money when I grew up middle class, even though my parents are both immigrants. They were educated, so I was fortunate enough to grow, middle class, upper middle class, because even though my parents were immigrants, they were college educated, and my dad has a master's degree, my mom has a bachelor's degree. So I was fortunate enough, to grow up in a nice area, but at the same time, aware, just like, I just feel like you're aware. You just don't call self-attention to yourself, and you're not going to have problems. And calling yourself attention to yourself is, wearing shit that might make someone want to rob you.